So dear friends, I'm here once again at this shepherd's voice. I'm happy to address you every week. I can understand that you take time to listen to my voice. Let me first begin with the Gospel of Sunday. It's a beautiful Gospel, the Gospel of Luke chapter 6, wherein three things are very much indicated as to what was in the mind of Jesus and what he expects us. First of all, honesty and integrity in our life. No duplicity. We can't in a way put a mask forever. At some time, someone, and surely God knows us. God knows what's in our heart. And therefore we have to be transparent. I remember that beautiful incident which Mahatma Gandhi relates in his autobiography called My Experiments with Truth. And it's very simple and innocent because he says, when I was very young, I was tempted to smoke. A friend of mine, a relative of mine, and we used to enjoy smoking. In the beginning, small butts here and there, but in the end we were smoking. But it reached a time when we realized it was wrong. It was wrong. Okay, everyone makes mistakes, we realize wrong. But then Gandhi said, I was restless because I had to confess this to my father. And that's the most difficult thing. He says, but then I made up my mind. And once I made up my mind, there was no turning back. I went and told, I wanted to go and tell my father about this, but I had no guts. I had no courage. So therefore I wrote on a piece of paper my confession. And what I was most scared was not that he would have surely forgiven me, but then he may harm himself because of my sin, because of my fault. And so since I didn't dare to speak to him, I took this letter and gave. And that time he was not in the best of health, he was almost bedridden. And Mahatma Gandhi says, I sat a little distant. I gave the letter, he read it, and I saw that the tears were coming into his eyes. And not only that, I didn't want to hurt him much more because I knew that. But by his tears, perhaps I realized that he has forgiven me. That was Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation. And so Jesus perhaps gives us examples like this, that we can't hide things from God. In Kannada, we have this beautiful saying, Manushara kannalli navu mannu hakabodu, ಆದರೆ ದೇವರ ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಣ್ಣು ಹಾಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. We cannot throw mud in the eyes of God. Secondly, in the same gospel, there's another sort of a small saying which says, a good tree bears good fruit. Perhaps from the fruit you can make out that it's a good tree. What is Jesus trying to say? That from our inside, if we are really good, good things will come out. In fact, the last sentence of the gospel says that a good man brings out good things from his heart, from his treasure. An evil man cannot bring good things. So therefore, Jesus is urging us, first of all, to live an honest life, not to be hypocrites, and at the same time to in a way, to strive towards goodness all our life, in all our relationship. I wish you a very happy Sunday as you have gone for Mass perhaps, or you will go in the evening today, and meditate over these words that may have a lot of things to say to you and a lot of things for you to change. Secondly, just 2 days back, Archbishop Bernard MORAS celebrated the silver jubilee of his consecration as a bishop. Archbishop Bernard MORAS is still with us, and he has dedicated himself, he has served this Archdiocese for 14 long years, from 2004 to 2018 when I took over from him. Before that, he was Bishop of Belgaum Diocese, and he was consecrated bishop 25 years ago at Belgaum on the St. Paul's grounds. And these 25 years, he has really surrendered himself to God's will. There are many things he has achieved. There are many things perhaps he wanted to do also. And we, in our humility, we have to say that we were fortunate to have an Archbishop like Bernard Morris. And therefore, the celebrations, Archbishop has been very humble to say that I do not want any celebration. In fact, I wanted to arrange a Eucharist with all the priests and people as much as possible. The corona has relaxed a little, but the Archbishop had made clear to me that he does not want any celebration. So be it. But we will pray for him. We will specially commend him to the Almighty that in this stage and age of his life, there may not be anything lacking, but goodwill, good words, and especially appreciation from all of us. I move on to last week I spoke to you about Gogunte, the village in Kolar where the Tashildar, the government officials demolished the statue of Jesus and 14 stations of the cross. I visited it 2 days back. I would say that the people were silent. They had nothing to say. But I could see the pain in their heart. The statue of Jesus to be just pulled out from its roots and thrown to the ground. Some of you may have heard their moans, as it were, their cry over the clip that was shown to us everywhere. When I talked to them, I said that this is a moment of trial for us. Surely we are very much affected by it. But the Christian religion, Christian culture, our sadness is of different types. Jesus was also sad. Jesus was also troubled. He was also stripped naked. He was also beaten with rods. Ultimately, he was crucified. And what was his reaction? On the cross, even when he is suffering, he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And so I told the people that this is our culture. I can understand your sorrow, but we are not the ones who will take revenge. We are not the ones who can rebel. But on the other hand, I just sort of justify to say that these government servants, the Tashildar and the officers, they had to do their duty and perhaps they have done it. Whether they have done it consciously or not, they will answer to God. On our part, let us get along. Perhaps God in His kindness might give us that land legally sometime, but for the time being, we pray for all those who have demolished. We pray for all those who wish to do harm to us. May God forgive them and bless them. My dear friends, I take you to another important season that is coming up. The Lenten season. This week we will be celebrating what we call the Ash Wednesday from 2nd of March, and that goes up to the Easter. There are some people, perhaps the children or the others, who are fun-loving, who want to eat, who want to make merry. The Lenten season seems to be a one that sort of removes all joy from us. It's a dampener. And some people say, why Lenten season? But seen on the other side, the Lenten season has meaning because it ends with Easter. It ends with Easter. Perhaps the whole season may not be as important to us. Surely we have to do penances, we have to do prayers. And this is the season of preparation for us for Easter. That's more important. That's more important. If I may give an example, a mother who carries a child in her womb, 9 months, how much of fasting she has to do, how much of penance she has to do, how much of sacrifices. She can't go for all gatherings and parties and assemblies. She has to sacrifice for 9 months. It's not just 40 days like us. But then she waits for it. And the moment the child is born, that's the biggest moment of joy for her. For us too, this Lenten season ends in Easter, the resurrection of Jesus, that nothing can stop him, that no one can kill God. And for us also, it's a drive to say that we will also rise. There are many things that put us down, perhaps failures, our sickness, our betrayals of each other, the difficulties in our family, so many things that put us down. But at the end, to say that Christ will succeed, he will rise again, that's more important. I gave you the example of this woman a woman who is pregnant and is waiting for the birth. In fact, the Lenten season of olden times was the preparation of the new converts. They were called catechumens for baptism. And so these 40 days were very important for them. They had to go a lot of catechesis, they had to go scrutinies and exams, as it were, and there were people to testify on their behalf to say that yes, he will be a good Christian, he will be a good disciple of Jesus. And in that sense, with the whole community joining together, it was like a person who is born again. Like a mother who expects a baby, and this particular person who is going to take baptism at the Easter season, on the Easter night, was a hero or heroine, as it were, because they were all preparing for it. In that sense, for us also, the Lenten season has to be a season of prayer and preparation. It has to be, perhaps the other times we have not been so serious. Let us sort of recollect ourselves, if possible, with the sacraments, more and more sacraments. And not only that, it could be also perhaps an occasion for us to spiritually evaluate our life. Do you know that Lenten season comes to the exam season? Perhaps someone may ask, why do we need exams? Why do we need audits of our companies or of our accounts? We need it because to see where I am going wrong, where perhaps I have not been very faithful in the money, in the use of things. Perhaps I have not studied the whole year, but the exam time I take it well. This is also an examination of our life, that every week we expect God. We open our hearts and minds to God. We ask for forgiveness. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, as you start the Lenten season on the 2nd of March, I wish you well. Pray, do perhaps a little penance and fasting that is meaningful to you, not just because of a ritual, but I fast because I want to see the presence of God in my life. That is more important. I wish you a very, I would say, very happy and joyful Lenten season. My friends, I take you to commissions of the Archdiocese, which are very important, which mean to serve the poorest of the poor, is what's called the Specially Abled Commission of the Archdiocese. You know what's special to be specially abled? There are children, there are people who are not perhaps endowed with all the faculties. Some perhaps they have no use of the hands, some are blind, some are deaf and dumb, and some are mentally also perhaps not very disposed as such. And for such people in our Archdiocese, in order to attend to them, to their needs, to their cares, and especially to give them a chance as much as possible, we also have this commission, what's called Archdiocesan Specially Abled Commission. And this commission also perhaps does many things in order to make at home. These are special citizens who will be surely be an inspiration to us, to have a specially able child in the family, to have a member in our surroundings. Perhaps it looks that something is missing. Surely something is missing. That's why God has placed you there, in order to make up for what is missing, in order to help this particular candidate, perhaps this child, this family. I don't say it should be considered as a burden. You know, many of these parents, the way they care for these children, the way cannot be separated from their children, they don't consider it's a burden. Though the outside world may look at it in that way. But then we surely can help them. There are more than 1,000 such specially able children and other persons in the Archdiocese. And so we would like to first of all try to identify them. If there is a candidate, if there is a child, if there is a family member who is in your surroundings, in your this one, we can help them first of all to take their details, identify them. Secondly, we can also help them like the e-Shram card with also what's called the disability cards of the government. And with that certificate, they can get benefits, they can get a small pension, perhaps there are certain areas that they can be also get some small jobs and many other benefits from the government that we can get with this disability card, which is important, and we will help you. The Specially Able Commission is directed by some persons in our Archdiocese who are spending a lot of time in order to organize programs to bring together and also do these identifications. And so if you know anyone in your family or perhaps in the surroundings, you can approach Father Christy Gabriel, who is the Secretary of the Archdiocesan Specially Able Commission. His number is here. And also Mrs. Estella de Souza, who is the Joint Secretary of this Commission, and her number is also there. And if you approach them, perhaps if there's anything that we can do for you, we will also be very, very happy to serve you. Now, brothers and sisters, there are some questions here. In fact, there is only one question here. The person is asking, perhaps I attend one Mass today. I receive Holy Communion. Perhaps I wait for the second Mass, another Mass. Can I receive also communion because I have already received in the first Mass? And this person is asking me, suppose I want to attend a third Mass, can I receive the Holy Communion once again? The canon law says that you can receive communion up to 2 times a day. Up to 2 times a day. That means perhaps the first Mass and the second Mass. And the third Mass, surely you can attend, but it's not that we should repeat the things that we have to repeat for the sake of repeating them, but Jesus is in your heart. The presence of Jesus is already in your life. And so 2 times is the limit that the Church prescribes for receiving communion on the same day. This is the answer that the Church gives. I wish you well. May you have a good week and a weekend now. God bless you.
My dear friends, please do share your feedback, your impressions and your experience, or send a message to the email address as you find on the screen, archdblr@gmail.com. And you also have the phone number, the mobile number, wherein you can send your message or WhatsApp on this number. Archbishop is ready and waiting to answer your questions. If you have any question, any doubt, any uncertainty, or there's no clarity upon something, you can ask those questions, and with the discretion that the Archbishop will surely answer these questions in the weekly feature Shepherd's Voice. Thank you, and we look forward to the next episodes.